SNAP recipients shouldn't go without food. People should be getting paid in this country. And we've tried to do that 13 times. And you voted no 13 times. This isn't a political game. These are real people's lives that we're talking about. And you all have just figured out, 29 days in, that, oh, there might be some consequences. There are people who run out of money. Yeah, we're 29 days in. And they've done their best to make sure that a lot of these programs are funded. But at some point, the government runs out of money. 13 times, people over here voted to fund SNAP. 13 times they voted to fund WIC. My aching back.
Friends, what we just saw on the Senate floor is a masterclass in political cynicism. You had Democrat Senators Luján and his colleagues parading the crisis of SNAP and WIC, claiming President Trump is a heartless man for letting funds lapse. But when the opportunity to solve the entire problem was put on the table, not just SNAP, but the whole government, they objected. This isn't about feeding people, it's about holding the entire country hostage for political leverage. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me as we break down the cold, hard facts from the Republican response that Democrats don't want you to hear.
Senator Luján will be offering a unanimous consent request, and I want to thank him for his extraordinary leadership on the issue of SNAP, leading the way on an urgent issue for millions of Americans. Now, right now, we're facing down two crises at once, a healthcare crisis and a hunger crisis. And both are caused by and intensified by one man and one man only, Donald Trump. We're now 3 days away from open enrollment, and now for the first time in history, a president is refusing to fund SNAP during a shutdown.
Now, let's be clear. The only way to ensure that SNAP benefits are issued by November 1st is for the Trump administration to release the billions of dollars it has sitting in an account at USDA that Congress appropriated, Democrats and Republicans working together to appropriate, to use for this purpose. As a matter of fact, never in the history of the United States has SNAP been allowed to lapse like this. As a matter of fact, during President Trump's first term, Secretary Perdue, President Trump, they tapped this same fund to allow SNAP benefits to continue to roll. Now, President Trump says that the use of SNAP contingency funds is illegal. Well, here's the document that was taken down from the USDA website that was up just days ago. He decided to take this down, and now even the Speaker of the House is lying to the American people, saying that it's not allowed.
That we are 29 days into a Democrat shutdown. And the senator from New Mexico was absolutely right. SNAP recipients shouldn't go without food. People should be getting paid in this country. And we've tried to do that 13 times. And you voted no 13 times. This isn't a political game. These are real people's lives that we're talking about. And you all have just figured out, 29 days in, that, oh, there might be some consequences. There are people who run out of money. Yeah, we're 29 days in. And they've done their best to make sure that a lot of these programs are funded. But at some point, the government runs out of money. 13 times, people over here voted to fund SNAP. 13 times they voted to fund WIC. My aching back. Finally realized this thing has consequences. Well, you know what? What Democrats are doing here. They're making plans to keep the shutdown going. And they realize, all of a sudden, 29 days in, that this is a real consequence, real life pain for American families. Something that results from their shutdown. So are they making plans to end the shutdown and reopen the government? Nope. They're going to propose a bill to fund food stamps during their shutdown. Now, I'll point out, we did 13 short-term clean CRs when they had the majority and President Biden was in the White House. 13. They've now voted 13 times against a clean CR. I have no idea where you're coming from. The Democrat leader said that President Trump could end this with a stroke of his pen. And he's right. We passed that bill with a stroke of his pen, he'll sign it into law. And the government opens up. And SNAP beneficiaries, SNAP recipients get food assistance. But you know what else? TSA workers get paid. Air traffic controllers get paid. Border Patrol agents get paid. Troops get paid. These people here get paid who are working without pay. You want to extend that and keep that going? Give me a break. So the people who aren't going to get the benefit of what they're trying to do today, Mr. President, are all the other programs that are affected. Head Start, grants to law enforcement to fight fentanyl and hire more cops to protect communities. Rural development programs that are important in my state, Senator from New Mexico State, I assume as well, that support housing, utilities, infrastructure projects in rural communities. Small business loans, certain direct loan and emergency programs that farmers rely on. National Guard training, critical to our nation's military readiness. Veterans transition assistance as they come out of service. Veterans cemetery services. Right now, there are no headstones, memorial certificates, cemetery maintenance, programs that are at risk, rental and housing assistance, delays in processing FHA-insured loans, delays in aircraft inspections and maintenance for air traffic control equipment. People that are currently not getting paid. I mentioned some of them, but air traffic controllers, TSA officers, Capitol Police, the people who protect us in this building, NOAA employees who are tracking hurricanes and other potential weather disruptions, disasters, food inspectors, other food and drug safety officials, mine safety inspectors, people who don't have pay certainty right now, troops, Coast Guard, ICE, Border Patrol, federal law enforcement, federal federal wildland fighters, firefighters, extenders that have lapsed, telehealth and at-home care, community health centers, teaching health centers, special diabetes programs, payments for ambulances, hospital at-home services, other lapsed authorizations, CISA to prevent against cyber attacks, National Flood Insurance Program to prevent closure, on homes in flood zones. That's what you're leaving on the table. The bill at the desk takes care of all of it. Funds SNAP, funds WIC, and yes, with the stroke of the president's pen, he can sign it into law and everybody starts getting paid again. This has got to stop. Hostage taking. Now you want some political cover. How long is this going to go on? How much longer do you want to see it go on? Just out of curiosity. So you think this buys some time. You want the shutdown to go on for another month, and then we're going to have another people come down here and, well, let's carve this out or carve this out. Why don't we just open the government? I've never seen anything like this. I've been here a good amount of time. I've seen continuing resolutions and appropriations problems and funding fights and government shutdowns. I've been through a few. I've never seen anything like this. This just isn't done.
You know, Mr. President, I get in trouble sometimes because I use language from that little farm that I still call home. But I've learned the rules of decorum on this Senate floor, so I won't use them today. But some of the lessons my father taught me early in my life, even after I was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, when he he'd leave a shovel by the front door when I'd go home on a weekend, and he'd leave my rubber boots there to make sure I'd put them on, because we're gonna go clean the barn. We raise cattle, we raise sheep, we raise all kinds of animals, and after those animals eat, they make something. Some of us use it to fertilize our land, some people call it manure. I won't refer to it as the language that I usually call it when I'm not on the Senate floor. I also taught it's important to tell people the truth and be honest with the American people. What the good leader left out when he was talking about the number of votes that Republicans voted on under a Democratic president, under a Democratic majority in the Senate and in the House, was that there was not a shutdown. We negotiated. People came to meetings. As a matter of fact, a lot of my Democratic constituents told me Democrats gave way too much to those Republicans when you were in the majority. Well, when you have to negotiate, when you hold power, when you're in the majority, you meet people. Now they want to take down policy from a website that says that they can justify doing this, showing the law. That's the nonsense. That's the garbage the American people are tired of, the political this, the political jostling, all of that.
I regret the fact that the senator from New Mexico and his Democrat colleagues are unwilling to modify his request to include keeping the government open. And I would say, rhetorical question to my colleague from New Mexico, if the government reopens, do SNAP beneficiaries get paid? Yeah, right? So do WIC beneficiaries. Veterans, low-income elderly people, people who need this assistance. It's not like you're doing anything here that isn't accomplished by reopening the government and paying everybody else. And you guys know that. There are a lot of people today who aren't getting paid. Last Friday, federal employees didn't get paid for the first time. Yesterday, air traffic controllers didn't get paid for the first time. And it only worsens over time. And so I would be more than willing, and have said this multiple times, as you all know, to sit down, get a group together, talk about health care. We think that Obamacare, and particularly the enhanced subsidies, are desperately in need of reform. There's no income cap. There's no asset test. People are making $500,000 to $600,000 a year and getting subsidies from the federal government for their health care. There are $0 premiums. There are millions of Americans who don't even know they have coverage, because the way that program is structured, the payments go directly to the insurance companies. So insurance companies are out there auto-enrolling people and making bank. A lot of people don't even know that they have insurance coverage. So this program is desperately in need of reform. The waste, fraud, and abuse in this program is kind of gotten to an epic level, because if you look at what's happened since 2013 when the exchanges went online, insurance premiums in the individual marketplace on the exchanges have gone up 221%. I mean, you tell me any place else in the economy that goes up 221% in that amount of time. It's going up double digits every year. In the employer market, it would be 6 to 7%.
The Senate transcript reveals everything you need to know about the shutdown. Senator Luján comes to the floor talking about two crises, a healthcare crisis and a hunger crisis, and he lays the blame for both squarely on President Trump. He claims this has never happened before SNAP funding cut during a shutdown, and that the administration is sitting on $6 billion in emergency funds they refuse to use. The Democrats push their Keep SNAP and WIC Funded Act, a bill that carves out just two programs. But here is the absolute truth, but the Democrats conveniently ignore. The majority leader, speaking for the Republicans, exposed the whole shan. He pointed out that they are 29 days into a Democrat shutdown, and Republicans have offered a non-partisan, clean, continuing resolution CR to fund the entire government 13 times. And 13 times, the Democrats voted no. If the Democrats truly cared about feeding people, they would end the shutdown. The Republican majority leader was crystal clear. If the government reopens, SNAP recipients get paid, WIC recipients get paid, and everybody else gets paid. It is a simple, direct solution. Instead, what Luján and the Democrats are proposing is a cynical political maneuver. The majority leader called it a transparent admission that they want to keep the shutdown going longer. They try to peel off one popular program, get political credit, and then continue their blockade on the rest of the government. They are attempting to buy political cover while inflicting pain. The Democrats' selective outrage completely ignores the countless Americans suffering from their political games. Their narrow bill only takes care of SNAP and WIC, but the government is about more than 2 programs. The majority leader provided a long list of people and services who are being betrayed by this selective funding stunt. TSA workers and air traffic controllers not getting paychecks, Border Patrol agents working without pay, National Guard training critical to military readiness being put at risk. Veteran cemetery services. With delays in headstones and memorial certificates, the Democratic bill completely ignores these people and programs. They are willing to let federal employees, law enforcement, and critical services collapse just so they can keep their political fight alive. That is not governing. It is holding the American people as political hostages. And let's not forget the other part of the argument, the reckless spending. The Democrats' proposed bill to extend the Obamacare enhanced subsidies. That's a $400 billion cost to taxpayers. The Republican majority leader highlighted the fundamental problems with the Affordable Care Act that the Democrats refused to address. No income cap. People making $500,000 to $600,000 a year are dot. Getting taxpayer-funded subsidies. 002743. Out-of-control inflation. Insurance premiums in the individual marketplace have gone up a staggering 221% since the exchanges opened in 2013. 28. 25. The Republicans aren't saying they won't talk about health care, they're saying open the government first. The president is willing to sit down next week to discuss reform. But you cannot negotiate when the other side has a gun to your head, which is exactly what this shutdown is. The choice is simple. The bill that is right there on the desk, the clean CR, funds SNAP, WIC, and the entire government immediately. The president will sign it. What the Democrats are doing is making it harder, not easier, to open the government, all in the name of political expediency. It's time to put the country ahead of the party. Open the government now. Let me know in the comments. Is this about feeding families or fighting Trump? Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.